Good morning and welcome. My name is Ann McCallister, and I'm the worship associate this morning. Whether the Unitarian Church of Evanston is your spiritual home, or you are seeking comfort and connection in uncertain times, we are really grateful that you are with us today. We are an inclusive and welcoming community seeking truth and striving to nurture the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. Together, let us remember our kinship with one another, and may we hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention. If you are participating from home, there are many links of connection in the description below of the YouTube live stream, including the order of service credits, ways to support our mission, and to be added to our email newsletter list. A few announcements. Following the service, we will have brief kinship time from 11:15 to 11:35. And then all are invited to come to the Social Justice Fair at 11:35 right here in the sanctuary. There will be activities for young people and young at heart people featuring teams such as Black Lives of UU, Green Team, Legislative Action Team, Rainbow Alliance, REAL, Immigrant Solidarity Team, and the Prison Ministry Team. Come learn about ways to get involved in some of these social action efforts at UCE. Nursery care is available for ages 0 to 3 from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. This coming Tuesday from 7 to 8:30, our adult faith formation features Mark Messley of the National Parks Conservation Association, presenting Climate Change, From Anxiety to Action, on the environmental and human impacts of climate change and how to address these shared threats through communal and democratic action. Please look for more information in the newsletter to join. On your way into the sanctuary this morning, you should have been handed a circular piece of paper that Reverend Eileen spent a lot of time cutting them out. Okay, just keep that in mind. And a pencil. This will come in handy later in the service. If you didn't get one, the ushers will be passing them out later. For those of you at home, you might want to have a piece of paper and a pencil or pen.
Just a little guilt there for you to encourage you to make sure you hold on to those. Before I do our opening reading, I did want to make an update. Even though the city of Chicago and lots of schools are dropping their mask mandates, we will continue to wear masks here in this building. I just wanted to let people know and have that assurance. Yeah, we care for each other, we take care of each other, and we do everything that we can to try to keep each other safe. So for the time being, we're going to keep the masks on. Our reading is a poem, When Giving Is All We Have, by Alberto Rios, named Arizona's first poet laureate in 2013. It is an invitation for us to consider what, how, and why we give to one another. One river gives its journey to the next. We give because someone gave to us. We give because nobody gave to us. We give because giving has changed us. We give because giving could have changed us. We have been better for it. We have been wounded by it. Giving has many faces. It is loud and quiet, big, though small, diamond in wood nails. Its story is old. The plot worn and the pages too, but we read this book anyway, over and again. Giving is first and every time, hand to hand, mine to yours, yours to mine. You gave me blue and I gave you yellow. Together we are simple green. You gave me what I did not have. and I gave you what I had to give. Together, we made something greater from the difference. Welcome to worship.
Let our hearts not be hardened to those living on the margins. There is a room at the table for everyone. This is where it all begins. This is how we gather in. There is room at the table for everyone. And undone, but there is room at the table for everyone. Let us sing the new world in. This is how it all begins. There is room at the table for everyone. There is room for us all, and no gift is too small. There is room at the table for everyone. There's enough if we share. Come on, pull up a chair. There is room at the table for everyone. No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, there is room at the table for everyone. Here and now we can be the beloved community. There is room at the table for everyone. There is room for us all, and no gift is too small. There is room at the table for everyone. There's enough if we share. Come on, pull up a chair. There is room at the table for everyone. There is room for us all, and no gift is too small. There is room at the table for everyone. There's enough if we share. Come on, pull up a chair. There is room at the table for everyone. Let our hearts not be hardened to the living on the margins. There is room at the table for everyone. This is how we gather in. For everyone.
The Unitarian Church of Evanston resides on the traditional homelands of the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. This land was recorded as being transferred from the local Potawatomi community to the U.S. government in 1829 and then was sold to white settlers. After decades of violent encroachment by the French, British, and then U.S. American settlers, the Potawatomi community had no choice but to sell before they were forcefully removed west of the Mississippi River. The Chicagoland area is now home to one of the largest and most diverse urban Native communities in the United States. Our faith calls us to name these realities with honor and respect as one small effort toward finding greater accountability, deeper relationship, and mutuality with contemporary indigenous communities. For the land which we use as sacred space, for the animals and plants that have been sustained by this land, and for our ancestors and descendants who are and will become part of the earth. As Sarah and Sean and their Isles and their children light our chalice, symbol of our living tradition, please join in saying these words responsively by UU Minister Reverend Sean Parker Dennison. I'll read the plain text and you read the italicized. There is no competition between this light and the darkness which holds it. Both the light and the darkness are holy. We light our chalice not to defeat the darkness, but because for a time we need the gifts of flame, warmth, and light to guide and help us in our endeavors. And when the time comes, we will embrace again the gentle dark which allows us rest. And so we kindle this light with awareness and gratitude for light and dark and all that lies in between, each with its gifts, each with its beauty, each part of a sacred and necessary whole. Please rise in body and/or spirit and join in saying the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Before our hymn, please turn to someone sitting near you, hopefully someone you haven't met before, and say hello and welcome. Those of you at home, please offer your greetings in the chat if you haven't done so already. You may remain uplifted to join in singing hymn number 299, Make Channels for the Streams of Love.
To
Tom Carlton to come up to give us an update on our pledge drive. What a great event we had last night. It was so much fun. Thank you to everybody.
Good morning. I'm Tom Carlton, UCE's treasurer. I have the first pledge drive results for those of you who missed the kickoff celebration last night. The UCE's whole mission pledge drive is off to a great start. So far, we've received 93 pledges and raised $266,590, which represents 43% of our pledge drive goal of $610,000. Thank you to those of you who've already turned in your pledge forms. We need everyone else to please turn in your forms by March 13th. If you need any technical assistance or other help, there's a great support team waiting for you. Just call the UCE office and they'll get back to you. Now, here to talk about why they give to support UCE's whole mission is Sarah Isles.
Good morning. I'm Sarah Isles, and I'm honored to talk to you a little bit about why my husband Sean and I choose to give to UCE. I thought I would start out with just explaining my relationship to this congregation. I joined as a member soon after we moved here in 2011. We moved here and started coming when the kids were little. We have 4 children who were between the ages of 2 to 6 when we started coming. They are now 12 to 16, so it's a little more than 10 years later, and they have learned so much within these walls. The rule in our family is that you have to complete the world religions curriculum as a middle schooler, and also the Our Whole Lives education curriculum as a teenager, and then the choice is yours about how you're going to engage with the Unitarian Church of Evanston. During the pandemic, I found my meditation practice through the church newsletter, and that has truly been life-changing for me. And my husband, Sean, I was raised Unitarian Universalist, and so coming here felt very natural, but it took Sean close to a decade to join me, and he has actually signed the membership books and become a member during the pandemic. And he attended his very first UCE service 2 weeks ago. So a little bit about why we give. That's really what I'm here to talk about. At the beginning, we gave because this congregation was educating our children. But now it is because of the work that all of you do in the community. The work of this congregation that I am most proud about is work that I have had little or no participation in. It's really the collective efforts of this amazing group of people. Hosting a Syrian refugee family, buying cots and blankets for the Interfaith Action of Evanston Emergency Overnight Shelter. That's where Sean works. And we saw firsthand how this congregation bought the items that were needed. The Real team worked to widen our circle and reckon with racial injustices. Countless other social justice activities, some of which we've heard about in announcements already this morning. The last 2 years have been so hard, and who knows what hardships lie ahead. I'm sure I'm not alone in this room in having news of war and the climate crisis very much on my mind. But I have faith, hope, and trust that this congregation will continue its work for social and environmental justice. And it's the resilience pragmatism, willingness to tackle tough problems, and dedication to justice that give me great hope, and that is why we give.
Good morning. Our story for all ages is The Rolling Coin, a traditional folktale, source unknown. A wise person once owned a precious golden coin. One day, as the wise person sat gazing at the precious coin and rejoicing in its beauty, a thought occurred to them. It isn't right that I should be the only person to have the pleasure of possessing this golden coin. What use is it if no one shares it? And they went out and gave the coin to a passing child. The child couldn't believe their luck. She couldn't take her eyes off of the shining coin. Then she had a sudden idea. I'll give this coin to my mom. She needs so many things. This coin will make her very happy. Of course, the child's mother was delighted with the coin. Such an unexpected solution to so many of her problems. She pondered in her mind as to how to spend it and what to buy first. As she was thinking about this, there was a knock at the door, and there was a visitor whom she'd never met. He was hungry and without a place to live, and was asking for help. Poor soul, she thought. He has so little, and we are just about getting by. And she gave the gold coin to the visitor. He was speechless. This coin could be turned into food for a month. He made his way back to the subway where he slept. And there he noticed a new resident who just arrived. This person was blind and unable to walk. He couldn't get anywhere near the folks riding the trains who might have spared him a coin or two on the way. I guess he needs it more than I do, thought the man who currently held the coin, and he pressed the gold coin into the blind man's thin fingers. That evening, the wise person walked through the dark subway and noticed the blind, disabled man and stopped to speak to him. The blind man couldn't remember the last time anyone had bothered to speak to him, for though he was without sight, he was invisible to most people. After talking for a while, the old wise person put their arm around the blind man's shoulder and said, I'm sorry, I have nothing left to give you except my friendship. A tear rolled across the cheek of the blind man. How could he ever repay the gift of human kindness that had changed a gloomy night into a new dawn? With his shaking, aching hands, he reached into his pocket, brought out the golden coin, and gave it to his newfound friend. Thank you for loving me, he said.
Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you'll end up having more. It's just like a magic penny, hold it tight and you won't have any, but lend it, spend and you'll have so many, they'll roll all over the floor. For love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you'll end up having more. It's just like a is something if you give it away. Give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you'll end up having more. It's just like a magic penny. Hold it tight and you won't have any, but lend it, spend it, and you'll have so many. They'll roll all over the floor. For love is something if you give it away. Give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you'll end up having more.
Yay! I defy you to get that song out of your head now. Good morning. This is the time in our service when we hold space for the joys and sorrows of those gathered here, honoring the struggles and the triumphs, the brokenness and the wholeness that is woven into this human experience. If you have a joy or a sorrow, you can always write it in the book that sits at the back table there. You can email me, you can fill out the Google form found on our website, or you can put it into the chat if you're joining us from home. We've got a few that are there already. These are the joys that have, and sorrows that have been shared. Susan Moss shares, please send positive thoughts and healing energy to Jerry Gaelic. He's dealing with some medical issues and needs our care and love. Jordan Strieber is also in the hospital and needs our prayers and wishes for healing and strength. And some joyful things. What a wonderful pledge drive party. Kudos to Norel and Jay and all who participated for creating a lovely celebration last night. And from Diane Markle, thank you for the cookie bakers. My 3-year-old grandson ate most of them. They were quite good. Mary Dudek shared this sorrow. We lost another beloved leader in Dr. Paul Farmer of the International Global Partners in Health. His quote, "The idea that some lives matter less is the root of all that is wrong with the world," which is sadly so true. The innocent people in Ukraine are the latest to suffer from this callous and cruel belief. This must change. Janelle Britton shares, I'm celebrating that this week my sister Darlene Breen is retiring after 45 years as a real estate agent. We've organized celebrations for her the next weekend in Dayton, Ohio. Congratulations to Darlene. And I share my own sorrow, not only for what's happening in Ukraine, which is a deep sorrow. I share my sorrow for all who are imprisoned around the world and in our country where incarceration is for profit and not for repair or healing. And in particular for all those who are suffering in Illinois' jails and prisons, knowing that the conditions there are in violation of human rights and the inherent worth and dignity that we hold so dear. We hold all these and all the joys and sorrows that are unspoken but are no less held in our hearts. This is part of the practice of beloved community. And I invite you now to come forward and light candles, if you would like, in honor of your joys and sorrows that are held in the quietness of your heart. as a peace song from the Ukraine, right? Thank you. Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life, source of transforming love and healing compassion. We name you and we invite you into our awareness, knowing that your power moves through us, within us, among us, and beyond us at all times, even when we are not awake to it. We call you to this shared space, this quiet moment to hear our sorrow and our fears. We are holding the suffering of those in the midst of war and violence in Ukraine. We hold in grief those lives that have been ended, and to the family members left behind to mourn while they flee their homes and search for safety. We hold in tenderness and care all those who are living in fear, unsure of where to go or how to protect their sovereignty. We hold in gratitude those in neighboring countries who offer refuge and shelter. We lift up our prayers for an end to this conflict, for peace and liberation everywhere to prevail. Bringer of peace, give our world leaders the wisdom and the courage to act for the collective good and for freedom from tyranny and oppression. Give us courage, Spirit of life and love, to never accept what is unacceptable, but to do what we can to address the violence and harm that rages close to home and far away. May peace come through us, and may peace endure.
As we say in our covenant each Sunday, service is our law. UCE is called by our mission, values, and principles to contribute to our community, to form accountable partnerships, and to express gratitude through giving. Today's offering will be shared with Asada's Daughters, a Black women and gender nonconforming-led, young people-focused, abolitionist organization rooted in the Black radical tradition. They organize Black young people on Chicago's South Side, address survival needs, help them develop leadership skills, and provide a place of hope. Please check out the newsletter and the real postings on Realm for other ways to help the organization as well. If you are joining us from home or in the building, you may text to give, mail in a check, or give from our website. If you write a check, please indicate in the memo line if your check is for the shared offering, pledge, capital campaign, or some other giving. If you are here in the building and have money for the collection plate, please raise your hand. An usher will bring you the collection bowl or box. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy. Thank you for your generosity. Our reading is Ask for What You Need and Offer What You Can from the Seven Whispers by American author and spiritual teacher Christina Baldwin. And there went the lights.
This is a new experience.
Roll on. As a spiritual practice, when we ask for what we need and offer each other what we can, we enter a dance of unavoidable reciprocity. We are doing a two-step exchange of needs and offerings, and the whole village is dancing. If we pay attention, we discover we cannot give without receiving. We cannot receive without giving. When a friend asks, "Can I give you a hug?" I wonder, how will she give it to me without being in it with me? Or if someone says, "I need a hug," does he notice that his request requires my willingness to offer my arms? Asking, offering, giving, receiving is one circular motion. If we don't ask for what we need, if we don't offer what we can, we block the dance. Imagine a person in the middle of the dance floor suddenly not moving while all around him continue on. People would start bumping into each other, losing the beat, losing their sense of direction, tripping over each other's toes. The dance is dependent on unceasing exchanges. As we ask for what we need and offer what we can, we become spiritual traders of life's energy, time, abundance, and interrelatedness. Through this practice, we are reminded that everything lives in reciprocal relationship with everything else, whether or not we choose to be aware of it. Even though we often have an ambivalent relationship with reciprocity, not wanting to think about the times when we are the ones stopping the dance, we are inspired by it over and over.
From the day that we were born, Mom hugged us with warmth, and we grew cause we knew we had all your support. From the fams to the friends, your love was medicine, keep giving us the strength to rise when we would sin, and the knowledge that we gained through every single mistake. But you never backed down through this, you taught me faith. Every single one of you, through being you, you do find a way to spread love, truth through me and you. And it's because of you I grew, because of you I flew, because of you I made it through without residue. Because of you we all have a home to come to. You're a blessing to us all, so keep just being you.
To my people, yeah, you're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah, you're everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, you're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I bow down to your heart of gold. Yeah.
First I thank the universe, the infinite, the all. Kaja, Allah, whatever name you call. Then I thank the ancestors, yes, our predecessors. The wisdom and the knowledge that they passed only bless us. Shot the Marcus Garvey, MLK, Malcolm Gandhi, Bob Marley, Michael Jackson, Tupac, they remind me the power of the pen, the music and the voice. Everything they've done let me know I have a choice. Now for my people, mom, pop, sister, brother, best friend, acquaintance, lover, co-worker. Even if I don't know you, for the good that you do helps me see my way through. Surface space, thank you, sharing all the good.
To my people, yeah, you're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah, you're everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, you're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I'll bow down to your heart of gold.
When I close my eyes, I always see learning souls who walk with me. They're taught to laugh, they're taught to love. You go to hug when push comes to shove. Turn the cheek, forgive, walk away. Tomorrow is another day. Life is short, helping hands, they say, are holier than the ones who
To my people, yeah, you're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah, everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, you're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I bow down to your heart of gold. To my people, yeah.
To my people, I bow down to your hearts of gold. I want to invite, if there are kids who want to go to room 3 and join Norel and Wendy Drake for some fun social time, you are welcome to do so now, or you can stay here because I love having you anyway. And I promise that the whole light flickering thing was not like a plea to get, money to keep the lights on. I don't know what that was. That was weird. Thanks to all of you who have already turned in your pledge forms, and all of those who I know will do so very soon. And thanks for showing up to this annual stewardship service. I know talking about money can be uncomfortable sometimes. We speak openly about the financial realities of our congregation because ours is a faith of mutuality, of transparency, and shared ministry. Unitarian Universalism thrives through our shared commitment to our values and to the mission of the freestanding congregation through which we make our values real. Sarah, you did such a beautiful job of expressing that. Thank you so much. Our commitments to this congregation and to Unitarian Universalism are made freely from our hearts without guilt or coercion. And though we are a free faith, we are still responsible for one another, responsible to and for one another. Part of the practice of shared ministry is to carefully consider what it means to belong to each other in covenantal community. So what does it mean to be a member of the Unitarian Church of Evanston? What are the requirements? On paper, it's pretty minimal, actually. If you're 16 years or older, you can sign the membership book and sign a pledge form that says that you will contribute an annual amount that works for you and your family. And if you don't have the means to give financially, you can still share in all the rights and rewards of membership by simply affirming that you want to. You can still vote at annual meetings. You can still serve on elected positions. Truthfully, you don't need to contribute a single thing to be a part of this community. You can attend service and participate in most things whether or not you are a member. However, what you receive from this faith community can only be deepened through what you give of your heart. And don't misunderstand, this is not a transactional thing. This is relational. It's not about if you give this much, you get this much. There's no special membership benefits based on your giving level. But there is a reciprocity, a mutuality that cannot be quantified, which comes with the investment of your heart. In the words of Theresa I, Soto, all of us need all of us to make it. All of us need all of us to be whole. What is your heart commitment to this community? No one is going to track this. No one's checking off a box or monitoring your progress. And there's no guarantee of what you will receive or how your life will be transformed through your commitment. There's no predicting what is possible through your investment. Think of all that we have done and been through together in these last several years. Think of it. We can't put a value on the way that being a part of this congregation can help us live our values, expand our impact for good, deepen our spiritual grounding, or the care that we hold each other in. It is an act of faith to invest in UCE with your time, your talents, and your treasure without knowing exactly what you will get in return for your investment. So you might ask, why invest at all? That, too, is a question that only your heart can answer. I can name lots of reasons why I contribute to UCE, why I invest in our collective project of building beloved community. I invest so that we can gather together each week to celebrate what is worthwhile in this life, to mourn and lament together, to imagine the world that we want to create, and to fortify our spirits in the struggle for justice. I invest because we are a community building our capacity to answer the call of love, to speak truth to power, to comfort those who are afflicted by inequity, injustice, and oppression. I invest because we provide one another an opportunity to challenge our assumptions, to deepen our commitment to anti-racism, and to stay engaged in the practice of repair and renewal. But it matters less why I invest. What matters is why you are called to this community and what you are called to bring in order for it to thrive. You've all received, most of you have received, I hope, your pledge packets in your email inboxes this week. And if you didn't, please let us know. The packets explain what our shared financial resources are for. And in full transparency, close to 80% of our budget comes from your pledges, and about the same percentage of our budget goes to staff expenditures, including my salary. It is also important for you to know that the sole purpose of the staff is to partner with you in shared ministry to help us collectively fulfill our mission, nurturing the human spirit for a world made whole. There are countless ways that we live our mission together, from creating worship, leading lifespan faith formation, coordinating our social justice efforts, and nurturing community partnerships, to deepening the connections among all of us. We tend our spirits and the spirits of all who would find solace, encouragement, and enrichment here, so that we can join our nurtured spirits, our energies, and resources to amplify our efforts to make the world more liberated, equitable, sustainable, and beautiful. Each of us has gifts to bring to this community and to contribute to our mission. At some level, we each make commitments to and hold hopes for this community. I can't imagine you would be here if you didn't. And so I invite you now to consider what your heart commitment is to UCE. You were handed those little paper circles, and yes, Ann is right, I spent kind of a lot of time cutting out those circles. I thought you Michaels would have like little round circles. Like, can you imagine that they didn't have little paper circles? They have everything. Anyway, I cut out those little circles. And if you didn't get one, raise your hand, because we've got, Tori can pass you a pencil and a little circle. I see a couple hands over here, and there's some over here. I want you to write down what your spirit, what is it of your spirit, your time, your energy, that you think you can commit to this congregation this coming year. Maybe your commitment is just simply to show up as often as you can, to participate not just in body, but in mind and in soul, as much as that works for your life. Maybe your commitment is to keep working to make UCE as anti-racist as it can be, to bring that aspiration into fuller realization. Maybe your commitment is to read the newsletter each week, right? Maybe you want to commit to supporting one of our partner organizations by volunteering with other UCE members. Maybe it's simply to sing a hymn from one of our hymnals to your children every night. Your commitment can be anything that feels important to you in moving toward a deeper sense of belonging and shared purpose. Again, no one is going to keep track of this for you. We share these with one another in mutual respect and faith in one another. Please take a moment and write those commitments on your paper circle. And if you're at home, participating from home, please write those down on your pieces of paper as well. And then I want you to think about what your wishes are for UCE. If you've ever tossed a coin in a fountain and made a wish, I want you to write down what your wish for UCE is in the next year. Maybe it's that we build deeper relationships with our interfaith partners. Maybe your wish is that we put up solar panels or sign on to HR 40 or better support refugees. What would you wish for this congregation? Maybe it's that we speak more courageously and compassionately to one another. Write your wish on your circle or your paper at home. Now, I had a feeling this was going to happen. We've run out of time to do the thing where I was going to have you all come up and do this thing. But again, I spent a lot of time cutting out those circles. I really want those circles, okay? So after the service, I'm going to invite you to come up, and I want you to put your colored circles into one of these baskets up here. And I want you to, there's little dishes of coins. I want you to take 2 coins. I want you to drop one of the coins into the little fountain, the little vase of water. Make a wish, make your wish with that coin, and then put the other coin in your pocket to hold on to and remember that wish. And if you're at home, bring those. You can bring your wishes and your commitments to me next week. You can also put them in the chat, and we'll gather them there, or you can email me. Don't make them too long, but I'll write them down in the little circles, and you'll see how they show up next week. So how I want to close today is to just have you turn to one another and say thank you to one another for what you bring and what you give to one another, and to wish one another peace. May we continue to expand gratitude and peace within, among, and beyond us. Thank you.
As we extinguish the chalice, please join in saying these words. Though the flame is extinguished, we carry with us the warmth of community, the light of truth, and the fire of commitment until we are together again. Please rise and sing hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life. You'll stay for kinship time and our social justice fair, and to bring and to do our little ritual here at the front. And if you can help move chairs a little bit so that the tables can come out, that would be great. May our collective wishes for deep peace, greater love, and lasting justice be fulfilled through our commitments to one another and our shared mission. Let us move out into the world with our nurtured spirits, striving ever to make it whole. Amen. Blessed be